Dance with the Devil. Jack had spent the last few months of his life dreaming of a better future. Every night he lay awake, counting stars and dreaming of the day he'd be free. The day he'd be able to leave this town and the darkness that was slowly consuming it. But that dream had seemed so far away. Until today. Tonight was the night of the annual town dance, and it held a special significance for Jack. It was an opportunity for a fresh start, away from the shadows that had plagued this place for so long. His parents had reluctantly allowed him to go, but only if he promised to stay away from the bad side of town. So he had, and now here he was, the clock ticking closer and closer to the witching hour. Jack scanned the room, taking in the music and the laughter, and the occasional glimpse of something darker. He shivered, wondering if he'd be brave enough to stay here until the night was through. He had just about decided to call it a night when he saw her. She was tall and slender with long, dark hair and piercing blue eyes. He had never seen anyone like her before and he couldn't take his eyes off her. She caught sight of him and smiled, that same smile that he had seen in his dreams. His heart skipped a beat and he knew that he had to meet her. He walked over and introduced himself, and he was certain that the night was going to be the best of his life. He couldn't believe that fate had allowed him to come face to face with the girl of his dreams. But fate had something else in store. The night had almost reached its end when Jack and the girl left the dance floor, hand in hand. As they made their way through the dark alleyways of the town, they began to hear strange noises coming from the shadows. Jack felt a chill run up his spine and he pulled his companion close to him. The girl's eyes widened in terror as they rounded a corner, and the source of the noise stepped out into the moonlight. A tall man wearing a black, hooded robe. Jack could barely draw breath as he felt the stranger's cold eyes upon him. "What brings two children out so late at night?" the stranger asked in a low, menacing voice. The girl stepped forward and squeezed Jack's hand, as if she were trying to give him strength. "We were just out for a walk," she said, hoping to defuse the situation. But the stranger was not to be placated. "I think you both need to learn a lesson about staying out late," he said, gesturing for them to follow. Jack and the girl did as he commanded, their feet moving slowly, as if they were being pulled by an invisible force. Eventually, they stopped at a clearing in the woods, where a small bonfire was burning. The stranger stepped forward and spoke in a voice that shook the very air. "Tonight, you shall dance with the devil." The girl's hand tightened around Jack's as the stranger summoned a ghostly figure from the flames. It was the girl's worst nightmare come to life. A creature made of shadow, with eyes that glowed with a deep, malevolent hunger. Without a word, the creature grabbed hold of Jack and began to dance. The girl screamed and tried to pull him away, but it was too late. The creature pulled Jack into the flames and, in a matter of seconds, he was gone. The girl collapsed to the ground, broken and helpless. She could still hear the distant laughter of the devil as she sobbed into her hands. That was the last time she ever saw Jack. She had thought he was her savior, the one who would take her away from the darkness. But instead, he had been the bait that lured her into the clutches of the devil.